So our bug out vehicle is being delivered next week, and I was serious when I said we are bugging out. We are leaving the thieves, the crazies, the mask wearers, the kneelers behind. You've no doubt, because you're on YouTube, have seen lots of nice young hippie middle-aged, well, not so middle-aged, how can I put it, millennial or 30 plus people piling into a van and going off travelling, because that's the latest fad in, if you're a privileged person, doesn't matter where you're from. Privileged, I just mean financially. I don't mean privileged. You make your own privilege in life. You'd have seen people piling off in a van and living on the beach and doing all that kind of thing, and then after 6 months or a year, just going back to life. They've done their gap year, if you like, or they've done their break from normality. Well, I've been on a break from normality for over a decade, and I am bugging out. There's no other way to describe it. I don't want to be around my neighbours. I don't want to be around idiots, thieves, and the general population, society. They're just idiots. I mean, I knew people's IQ was being chipped away at years ago. In fact, I knew it at school. I could see the intelligent children around me getting their IQ chipped away at daily. That's why I never handed in a piece of homework in my entire education, was because you don't make me work at home when you're trying to also make me work at school. And what I saw was resourceful, intelligent kids full of play, imagination, creativity, just turn into drongos, worried about their exams, worried about their hair. Oh, what am I going? Oh, well, if I don't get a good if I don't get good exam results, I'm never going to get a job. Sorry, but you've got to laugh. So bugging out. I will do a video when the vehicle arrives. I will also put some links to the equipment I'll be fitting in it. Things like a collapsible bunk bed that folds into a sofa, a gas powered oven, obviously a full solar system, a toilet, a shower, the lighting, the entertainment, the music, the heating, the cooling, the insulation, the window tinting. I'm going to try and show people that bugging out isn't van life. It's for a serious reason. I'd very much like to go and park up. We've got so many mountain peaks here. We've got lakesides. We've got small villages with village shops that serve fresh ham, fresh meat, fresh vegetables, olive oil, wine, beer. There's a good life to be had in rural Spain for a few years, watching this shit unfold onto everybody. Going to try and find a small piece of land that nobody else is looking at, hidden away. Toil the soil and start planting, and we can drive back occasionally to pick up some vegetables and fruit. It sounds unreasonable or unfeasible, sorry. Well, not if you understand thermodynamics and you can set up a solar-based watering and irrigation system which only requires topping up once a week. Then you can have a bit of rural land tucked away in an allotment. You don't need 50 other strips of 2 metre by 4 metre land around you with people's sheds, etc. It's not necessary. Look at the earth. It's yours. It's ours. If there's arable land, grow on it. Who can tell you can't? Oh, obviously you're not going to walk into a farmer's field and say, right, I'm going to take that part of your field. You'd just find a piece of land that nobody's using. You go and dig your patches and you toil it. It's not rocket science. None of this is rocket science. We're looking at buying a lockup. We have some lockups that we rent, but we want to buy a full one, so that we have the ability to store stuff as well, and we can change with seasons. I'm not naive enough to think that we might not get sick of it within maybe even 6 months or a year, but it's a very different climate here, and obviously we have all the awnings, we have the outdoor tents, camp gear, fishing tent, well, you name it. We've got the makings of the outdoor life that we always wanted. But if we sit here watching television. Well, I don't watch TV, but watching YouTube and watching the situation unfold, and it's not going to do a psyche or a mentality any good, especially when people aren't factoring in the sheer desperation of millions of people that their voices just aren't being heard. You will be seeing these people, by the way, over the next year to 18 to 24 months. My timescale for it's not societal collapse, because society won't ever collapse until the last person's dead. What I mean by societal collapse is, do you want to live in it? Do you want to take part? Do you want to stand next to some spasticated, mentally retarded person in a supermarket who looks at you in fear because you're standing too close to them? Do you? Do you want to work from home for the rest of your life, not meeting up with colleagues or in doing meetings? Do you want to be a virtual serf? Because that's what a lot of people will be looking at. And obviously it very much depends on quality of life. There's going to be a lot of people who this won't affect on a grand scale because of their chosen environment, whether it's rural or boat living or already out in a RV or a van. The impact is going to be far less. So people would say, well, what are you going to do when you decide that you don't want to be in a van anymore? We'll buy a house, or we'll rent a house, or we'll buy another piece of land, or do something. But the ability to move at the moment, and obviously to cross borders, being in Spain, Portugal looks a lot more favourable, but that's just, is the grass greener? We don't know, but we'll have the opportunity to travel over the border, visit friends, spend a bit of time there, living rather than just being a tourist as we've always been. We've never gone to Portugal other than as tourists, so that could be interesting as well. It's going to be a new life, and we're going to have to sell a lot of stuff. In fact, we're going to have to sell a home's worth of stuff and outbuildings worth of stuff. Going to have to sell 2 vehicles as well, which is going to take a while. So people would say, oh, it's the worst time to try and sell anything to sell. Well, I'm just going to say to you this: we invested into assets that grow daily, and we hedge. And when we buy something, we hedge. We always invest when we buy, so that if what we buy fails, the hedging at least covers a proportion of our loss. We bought 9 things in 10 years, and we've only lost on 1. There's not much we can do. When a corrupt council, government and police want to steal your land, sorry, I had a bit of a distraction with the cat then. Yeah, there's nothing much you can do when corrupt politicians, UNESCO, property developers and what have you decide to steal your land. I'm still on my land, as you know, and I think I could probably stay here for another couple of years. But you've got to move forward, and you've got to look at the world and understand your position in it. And my position in this world is I'm free. I'm a free man. So travelling around, having a look and seeing whether or not the world does change in the way that I feel it will over the next couple of years, and then perhaps making a choice whether to come back and partake in it, or whether to stay feral, if you like. And obviously it wouldn't be in a van, we'd have to purchase a piece of land. And the logistics of what we're planning to do, they're not easy. We're not leaving rented accommodation and just jumping in a van and saying goodbye to mum and dad. You know, I'll be 50 years old in a few years' time. It's not a light decision, this. But when you realise you can generate your own electricity, your own hot water, that you have a partner who can bake, can sew, can grow, and your skill sets mean that you can enjoy an outdoor life for a period, I don't think there's going to be a better time to do that than now. I really don't. And I might be sounding very serious about this, because I am serious about this. We're not doing this for a jaunt. We're bugging out. We're leaving this behind. We're leaving the crazies, the masked, the idiots behind. because quite frankly, it's going to sound really big-headed and egocentric, this. I don't want them in my presence. I don't want them around me, my girlfriend, my cat. I don't want these people around us. They're dangerous. They are dangerous to themselves, their political idealisms. They're cowards as well. I've never encountered in the past few years such a group of cowardly men that I have in Spain. Seriously, they are just pathetic. So hopefully we're going to find some, I don't know, we've got peace here. We're just going to be able to look at the world from the outside and not be affected so much by crazies. That's all I have to say about that. So stay tuned, because when this thing arrives, you're going to look at it and you're going to think, how are you going to do that? Well, I'm obviously working out how I'm going to do that now. And I've got some great ideas, and they haven't been done before with van life. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. And if you don't, there's many other channels out there that'll be concentrating on the doom and gloom. Hopefully within a few months from today's date, it won't be doom and gloom. The doom and gloom will be occurring, and it'll just be passing us by. And I really hope it passes you by as well. Cheers.